Hey, good morning. Welcome to, well, there's a place called Dimboola, quite near the South Australian Victorian border, and we're here to photograph a little pink lake. And I was amazed this afternoon, or yesterday afternoon when driving past, to see that it had water, because yesterday I travelled to Sea Lake, which I've photographed before. I'll put the link in somewhere up here, or in the description below. And I was a little dismayed to find all the water had gone. So what could I do? It was just full of footprints and it was not very photogenic in whatsoever. So a little despondent and driving home. And I knew this pink lake was here, but every time I passed it was completely dry. And lo and behold, I don't know why, but we've got some water. So I'm going to dive in there, not literally, but figuratively, and grab a couple of shots while we can. You might see that there's a slight banded colour out there on the horizon. There's zero cloud, and I'm doing the opposite of my usual, well, maybe not rule, tip, suggestion, is that when there's no cloud, you're supposed to shoot away from the sun. It works as far as I'm concerned, but in this case I'm going to shoot towards the sun. I've just walked round this lake, little lake. Well, I've got halfway round and I've found a stump of a tree that's in the water. So you know me, anything sitting in water is fair game for my photography. So I'm going to sneak out there and I'll set up, take you along and see what we can make. So what do we have here? We have our tree, which I'm going to now try and illuminate. I normally go out with my little head torch and pop the light on something like this, but I can't do that today because I will leave footprints all the way across. So I'm using a torch that I bought especially yesterday. So we've got that, and you can see that I think I need to go lower. Because that tree is just about protruding over the top of that far bank, and I think I want to make a bit more of a statement of it. So I think I'll lower this tripod, and again be very careful not to get too much of the tripod into this water, because it is corrosive as hell. Okay, so let me do that. Pop you torch away just for a second. Let's just lower this tripod a little bit. Now I've extended the bottom legs. That may have to do because I don't really want to go any lower. I've extended the bottom legs of the tripod to keep as minimal amount of metalwork in the water as I possibly can. I am just going to refocus just while we've got this chance. There we go. Lock that focus. Switch everything off just for a second. There we go. Including you. And I'll adjust this. Let's bring our ISO down to 100. ISO 100 of 4 minutes. That's looking okay. You can see that the bottom half of this is very dark. I am just going to very quickly adjust our polarizer. I want no vignette. There we go. 4 minutes it will have to be. Go. Okay, let's head back out here. So you can see we've got some beautiful delicate shapes in this ice along the bank, and I think it would be remiss of me not to attempt to try to record that. Okay, so I'm going to have to angle very carefully, so I'm trying to select a little bunch that I think are quite pretty. So is the hard bit now, is picking out in the entirety of this a little vignette, a little section of crystals that just say something or call to you. I do quite like this little grouping here. And careful with your feet. There we go. Let me just lock off that. And I will have to raise this very slightly, just like this. Can I get even closer in with this? What I do like here is this little rosette here, and the shapes that come up and through here. So I'm at 2.5 seconds at ISO 50. I'm probably just going to adjust that slightly. I want to make sure that I have as much depth of field as I require. These aren't going to move anywhere, so 4-second exposure. I've got to watch because that sun is just going to pop over and destroy our composition, our light anyway. So let's come back along here. I like the change in texture across this image. Crusty old salt, which is beautiful, then these archy shapes, and then the speckles of that ice. I knew I was going to call it ice, of that of the salt in the pinkish water. So again, I'm just going to, I might focus stack this because I've got, I'm starting to sink. Very mushy. Oh, yes, very mushy. I might focus stack this as I've got the camera not at a 90-degree down angle, so I'm going to be very quick. I'm probably going to lessen that to ISO 160. And just focus stack. I probably won't need them. I might get this in a single shot, but always best take extra images rather than get home and find that you have one or two less than you need. I think we may have lucked out a little bit. Super minimalist shot coming up. I'm just adjusting, pardon me. Make sure we go, oops, we don't want that. ISO 50, lowest we can go on here. And let's come down just a bit. And let's adjust this polarizer. Oh yes, I like that. We've got the polarizer working there, seeing through this beautiful water here, salty water. But if I just adjust it like that, you get the full reflection of the sky. We've got a little row of posts here that you can see leading us out, which I quite like. Very, very minimalist, of course. We're lucky that there's hardly any wind at all. I may need to focus stack this, so I'm going to immediately just focus in on this near, oops, little thing. When I can focus in, that is. There we go, let's try this. There we go, focused. Yep, we're locked. You can see that little bit of focus peeking around it. So let's see what we want. I want it a little darker, just to protect those highlights. The sun is coming up quite quickly, but I think there's a very hazy bank of cloud out there, which is helping us. There we go. Now, the reason why lakes such as this go pink is that there's a bacteria that lives in the water, happily just consuming the salt all year round. But when the weather gets a bit too dry and a bit too wet, a bit too dry and a bit too hot, the sunlight can damage them. So what they do is they give out this pinkish dye to help almost like sunblock to help protect themselves. And that's what turns the lake pink. Okay, I do like this curve that we've got in the landscape here, but there's always a but, isn't there? There's footprints everywhere, so that's not going to work for us. So let's give it a couple more minutes. Let's just see if we can find anything, and then we'll jump on.